Let me just type this out. Uh, Sorry, I'm just like gravely distracted and also trying to do this simultaneously. There we go. Wow. Um, Now this last part, the therefore proposition. Hold on. Yeah, of course it did that. So that's what I'm actually looking at in the book, and I'm going to. Ah, crap! I messed that up. Hold on. Again, I'm just kind of distracted uh, at the moment. I'll have to cut here soon, but this is what I'm looking at verbatim in the book, and I kind of need to consider how to deal with that. I'll be back in one moment. Okay, back. Uh, but yes, this is what I'm dealing with here. So the reason why this is a little bit different is because there's a logical connective here, which even though it leads into a separate assertion, I'm not really sure how to handle that. I guess I'm just going to treat it like I did prior with no connective. So I'll box this. Uh, yeah, I guess I'll box this. No, hold on. I think I get it now. Yeah, let me undo that. I'm gonna try looking back to see if there's another spot where that occurs. I think that's new-ish. Yeah, because every other time that happens, that's like a logical connective. Like just flat. Yeah, much like with the dangling implication, it's just continuance. Ugh. Oh man. This ain't helped at all by the fact I've got other crap to worry about. Like, you know, the stuff I'm being distracted by right now. When it rains, it pours. I'm getting kind of blindsided by this one. I didn't see this one prior. Like, I didn't really think about it for some reason. So I guess the way to do this would be um this is a little awkward, but 2287. Oh, that's 2227 that I wanted. And move this over a tad. And this should be at least mostly on the level, yeah? Perfect. This. Excellent, okay. Move this way the heck over. Don't need all that space. It looks a little scuffed, but that's alright. I can't believe we're getting into the third one now, but such as it is. Uh, and honestly, the way that this should work, because it's not a direct, like, assertion on its own. Put this here. Move this down. There we go. I think that'll work. Ugh. You want to talk about losing the will to continue doing this? Man, I just had like I said, I don't want to give any specifics for reasons I think are obvious, but yeah, just immediately went into having a bad day that got worse. I got a bunch of crud I gotta do now that ain't this. Because again, notice that this doesn't have its own assertion like this bit up here does. So we're gonna attach that like we would just like we would a hold on. Had some gastric trouble. I'm having all kinds of trouble today, man. But we're gonna attach that just like we would this, because that's what it's functioning as, like a reference or whatever you want to call it. It's functioning in the same. It's not an assertion unto itself like this was, so we can just tack that onto the side of the box. And with that, we've got P or uh, it's the problem is that this is written differently than the original thing, but it is essentially the same thing. Like, there's no way for me to represent this differently graphically. So look at this. What's up here is represented in text as um. Let me wipe this out. I don't know what that's gonna come out as. I mistyped. So three dots P, two dots disjunction P or Q implies Q. That's what this is written as originally, right? I don't think this. I guess it's implies rather than or Q. But the idea is the same. It's like P or Q implies Q. It's written differently, and these basically mean the same thing. So Yeah. Okay. Well, whenever I say they basically mean the same thing, again, that's just me being distracted. Excuse me. What I meant was is that they basically are shaped the same way, even though the dots are different. So this is using like a single dot for this, and then nesting these in brackets and parentheses, but it's functionally in the same shape, right? Like I can't represent that in a different shape. It's the same shape. That's what I was getting at. And a reminder that that therefore prop is just QED of sorts. It doesn't actually need to be added. So we're not doing that. Because like I said, I've got enough crap to deal with, apparently, that I didn't realize I was going to be needing to deal with, which stinks. And yeah, I'm not happy about that. But that's life, I guess. So I'll probably cut this one short at this one, and maybe whenever I get back to it, however long that is, just continue it as like this episode, if you want to call these episodes. That's probably the best way for me to do it. And I need to get rid of all this extra space down here. There's no reason to. There we go. Tinyfy that as much as I can. And then put this under the other one. Oh, and obviously I need to take that out. Honestly, I might just make all of these one long episode then. Now that I think about it, like just one long video. That might work. Okay, so this would all be demonstration one. So let me get that all squared away, and then I'm just going to cut for now because, like I said, I basically just had a ton of crud dumped on my plate that I didn't think I would have to deal with. Which is great. I love it. I don't like the phrase "one must imagine Sisyphus happy," by the way, because if you know the story of Sisyphus, he was kind of an awful dude. So to say that one must imagine Sisyphus happy is kind of like saying that one must imagine that, well-deserved punishment isn't well-deserved or like isn't fitting. And it also implies that what you're dealing with is a punishment that you deserve, which is kind of screwed up. I don't know. I feel like people miss the point of the tale of Sisyphus when they say that. And by that I mean like the entire point, not just like in part, like, oh, you forgot that it was a punishment. Like, no, I think you're kind of missing the entire point of what the story was. Um, yeah. Anyway, gonna include this along with a note. Just explaining that, you know, that functionally, uh, basically the stuff I already said on camera. I guess I should put that in size 12, huh? I guess original's a bad word there. Yep, wrong buttons. Wrong buttons. If you're wondering why I'm still so zoomed out, this is why. Alright, well, with that done, I'm going to cut this now, and whenever I get back, like I said, it'll either be tacked on to this episode or maybe its own episode or something. I don't know. See you then. Okay. It's later on in that same day. I noticed that I forgot to put the not symbol on this. I did in the final version of the image. I got a little bit of spare time, uh, so I figured I'd go ahead and do some more of this on camera. Just a bit of spare time. I'm not sure how long I'll go for. So 226 is not P or P implies Q implies Q. Uh, okay. Well, the next two at least are thankfully rather simple. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to start saving these, as you can see in the top left, in the different star folders because it's a lot simpler to get to there. All right. So let's honestly, let's kind of delete this and this. Again, now that I have those saved, like this whole setup saved as its own chart, I don't feel so bad about deleting it. Just gonna go ahead and knock off. Well, I was gonna delete that stuff on the bottom, but I think I'll keep it. Just move this over here. Ditto for this, just in case there's some kind of structure that I could use this to copy paste into, like what I'm about to do with this. So I'm just gonna copy this, paste it, and then I guess we'll just snip this. You'll understand why I'm doing that in a minute. Okay, so ow. Ow. What was that? Ow. Ah. Ah. Had a sharp pain in my lip for some reason. Okay. Now that I'm done having mysterious pains. Pains of mysterious origin. So they both need to be turned into imply symbols. So we'll just go ahead and do that real quick. And we'll just belt out a quick not P, not P, to P or not to P. Real original joke, I know. We'll actually copy that, move that over so that I remember. Oh, wait, no, that's dim. I'm looking at the wrong one. Still, though. Paste, paste. Yeah, okay, well, we'll fix this one for now so that I don't look at it and get weirded out. Okay, so let's drag this over here. Simply replace this, move this over just a tad. Oh, crud, that's an implies. Right, okay, that makes sense. It really does. Not that I can explain it in English, but it does make sense. Just trust me on that. Yeah, because if it's not P or P implies Q, then it makes sense that it's P implies Q implies Q. You dig? Because again, remember, like, the implication is not P or Q, right? Does that make sense? It's okay if it doesn't. But yes, the thing here is that it's star 225. I just rammed my key into the home my key. Yes, I rammed my key. I rammed my finger into the home key on my right hand whenever I went to go do that. That's why I put up a little J before the. I was so excited to type this out. Not P over P. And then we can just box that. Again, as always, put that down to 5 pixel thickness, the optimum pixel thickness of any container notation. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. They're lying. And then yes, this over here, so that's not P or P implies Q implies Q. And then this is P implies Q implies Q. And then that's just 226. Okay. All right. Star 226. And we're going to move right along. I'm going to save all of these in a batch. And, ow, goodness. Ow, what the heck is that? I'm beset by all kinds of problems this week. Mysterious pains, household repair issues, minor mistakes in notation that could actually be very, very bad if I overlooked them. Ugh. Okay. And I just hit the mic with my hand like an idiot. Okay, well, while I'm here, right? Okay. What one was that? Okay. Just figured I'd go over 218 since I made an error in 225. That, again, is a big one. Like, not having a not symbol here is a big deal, and just for my own sanity's sake, I'm going to make sure that I represent it like I did in the actual image. I've already saved that image, but you know. Goodness. To my credit, I was distracted. Okay, so here's a big issue. I guess because it's a replacement, I should just put it's because of the replacement. So this is going to take some explanation, okay? Just hear me out here. Here is what star 2, 3 is as written. There's some stuff that I got from ChatGPT. I asked it if there's a specific kind of notation that I could use in Unicode because there's these like there's like capital R and S with arrows going left or right, and I needed the Unicode stuff for that. So that's what those additions are. Anyway, if you heard that, that's my computer being stupid, and I wish it would stop. Um, P wrong button. No. Yeah, okay, I had it right. Again, my computer making angry noises at me for no good reason is very distracting. Wrong one. 2283 is what I want. Ugh. Now my eyes are getting itchy. Okay, there we go. Okay. Oh, excuse me. Q over P. R over Q. That's Q over P and R over Q. So, hey, 222A is that? Alright, hold on. I need to write that down. Hold on. Alt plus numpad plus 222A equals. There we go. And then what was the converse? Alt plus numpad plus. I think it was like 2289. If my computer will stop making angry noises at me. Okay. I'm putting in an alt code. Computer, can you stop? Alt numpad plus. What was it? I thought it was like 2289. 2229. There we go. It's 2229. There we go. Save that. I need that. If you believe it, I need that. But anyway, that's not what I need right now. Q or R implies R or uh, wrong one, or Q or R over Q, R or Q over R. P or Q or R implies P or R or Q. Do you see what the issue here is compared to the last one? Okay, paint 3D. How did I put it over here? Demonstration of. Okay. Now compare and contrast. The problem is that with this it's just associative, right? With this it's a straight up full on substitution. So I'm just going to do the same thing I did before, I guess. But yeah. Yeah, except it doesn't have a 1, but I guess it doesn't need a 1. So that's. Do I have that? Like the one-sided thing? I don't, do I? No, not quite like that, I don't. Okay, I think I'm gonna have to take this. Alright, check this out. knock these walls down. Call me Gorbachev. What a terrible and stupid joke. Alright. Now, take this, flip it, flip this. Wait, that did flip it, right? Yeah, okay. Okay, so now it's, P or Q or R. And by the way, you'll notice that the second one is just a restatement of the original, but with the added some, uh, you get the idea, hopefully. Like with the added substitution logic attached to it explicitly. Okay, P, R, Q. Let's. I believe that's what it is anyway. If I wasn't so distracted and harried by my problems in life, maybe I'd be a little more present mentally. Also, that's the wrong place to put that. So that's P or Q or R. So Q first and then R first. So we'll just slap this one over here. Copy, paste, swap these two. Scratch my ear. Okay. Oh, right. I guess flip. I need to do this. And then the beauty of that is, if I can line these up without being a dimwit, I can go ahead and shuffle them on over right next to one another, find out that they're not actually spaced properly, and then have a mild panic attack. Alright, great. You bet, by the way, before you even ask, yes, I absolutely am going to make a template out of this, because why the heck wouldn't I, right? Here's a trick. Instead of being exact about it, just do that. Yes, and I'm going to need the 1 and 2. Right. Paste. Copy. Paste. Now here's the real question. Where am I going to fit that over here? I don't know. I don't think I need to know. Sometimes you just need to find out in the moment, yeah? That's life sometimes. Sometimes we gotta figure things out in the moment. In situ. And I can get rid of this thing because we're not using that table anymore for this. Like, decidedly, we're not using that table anymore for this. Let me take the gas notation. I mean, I should just leave it up here along with the other stuff that's like extras. That's basically the miscellany corner where I just keep all the miscellaneous stuff. Yeah, definitely put that there. Delete this. Move this here. And now we can revel in the victory over the necessity of bespoke notation right here. And turn this into a template. Our victory over bespokity. Hippity hoppity, we win over bespokity. And have a new template. Uh, I'll save that as a different one soonish. But I'm very happy with that. I'm always happy with a new template. It means less step-by-step processes later. Because look, I'm gonna level with you. There's there's only so many ways that this can be done, right? Like there's only so many different shapes, like templates that I'm going to have to come across. So every template that I make is one less template that I have to make later, if that makes sense. So I'm going to check over this to make sure I didn't do any idiotic mistakes. P or Q or R implies that's the wrong one. That's supposed to be implies. Idiotic mistake caught. We can pretend that I never made that mistake and just, live in that universe. P or Q or R. R or Q. I was about to have a mini stroke, but no, that's exactly what that is. Okay. Okay, P or R or Q. So yes, P or Q or R implies P or R or Q. Excellent, perfect, amazing, spectacular, fantastic. We've done it. We've done it. Okay. So what we're going to do next is make a bunch of creaky noises with the headset. And then obviously perm Q over P, R over Q. Line these up so they don't look as dim and make it clear that this is what's going on. We'll just go ahead and snip this. Hope it's the same size. It should be the same size, right? Yeah. Why it's not, I don't know. I'm very unhappy with this. Why is it 6 pixels instead of... You know what? That's fine. It's fine. I'll just snap this. 7 pixels instead of 5. My math is terrible. Not that I didn't already know that, but, hey, whatever. Anyway, slide this right on in there. Not right in there. Duh, what the heck is... You could tell I'm frazzled, because I just did that, and I was like, yeah, that totally makes sense. It isn't, stupid. Yeah, wow. Dude, I'm just out of it. I'm telling you. I'm just racked. Okay. Well, this will do it. Okay. Let me just make this whole thing start up. Starting from scratch. From the ground up. That's what I mushed together there when I said startup. Start it from scratch, from the ground up, whatever. So Q or R implies R or Q. And I wrote it wrong, didn't I? No, I didn't. Wow, I'm shocked I didn't. Well, then I have no idea where I thought that other or came from that I had up there originally. Just go ahead and slide this in here. Copy paste. Slide the other one in there. Paste. Oh, that's cute. Alright. Move this down here. QR and then RQ. Got it. Simple, easy, efficient. We'll get this whole book done yet. I tell you what. And now for the big decision. So slap this on there. Tinify it. Yes, there. Um, I should have like single decision thing. Yeah, okay. That'll work, I guess. Well, that'll do better, actually. I don't know why I have... This is redundant. Okay, this'll work for what I need. I'll have to, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'll have to adjust this, to put it lightly. But, it'll work. What I need to do here is put in sum q. That's the wrong one. How did I do that? 2282? Crap, I need to actually put that on the... Up, down, left, right. Alt plus numpad plus plus. Can you stop that? Okay, it's 2282. You may be wondering why I would need that. Okay, I already had that, but I'm gonna. I'm tempted to keep it anyway, but yeah, okay, whatever. I'll save that. Except I screwed that up anyway. Sum Q or R over P, and then it's R or Q over R. Box that in. And then tinyfy it. After centering it, that's not, my brain isn't going to let me get away with that. There. Okay, center it. Tinyfy it so that it's still legible, but tiny enough. And then put that over this. Well, since it comes second. Well, I have to look up perm now. P or Q implies Q or P. Yeah, okay, so that's P or Q. So that would be Q or R. So it's P or Q implies Q. I'm gonna have to put this up there. This is like, okay. Where did I put that tinyfied? Come here, you. You've committed crimes against the slate, the tablet. You've committed tablet crimes. Crimes against the graph. I hate that they're different sized boxes. Okay. That's the best I can get as far as making them the same size. Okay, now I need a conjunction. 2289? No. I guess is that does not imply? Is that what that means? There we go. I mean, it doesn't matter because I can't and don't care right now. Um, so let me write 1.4. Oh, one. It's not 1.4. It's 1.4. Whatever. Star 140. Uh, now I have to do this. Why did hitting enter twice take me upward? Did I? Yes. Stuff. Egad. Okay. Just a comedy of errors over here. P or Q. Wrong one. Implies Q or P, yeah? I'm almost certainly going to need that later, so I'm definitely going to keep it. Let me just go ahead and do that so it doesn't shock me whenever it does the annoying thing. Sum, aka, that should be in the ones, right? Yeah, 1 star 160. Star 40 ounce. I could use a 40 ounce. Uh, yeah, okay, I can get that. I did add the. No, I didn't. Wow, thanks. Thank you, computer. Thank you, friend computer. What a good friend, computer. Q implies R implies P or Q implies. Implies uh, P or R. Okay. I'll remind you that I have a very big problem with like rows, like keeping track of rows, which makes this a lot harder than it probably should be. Flip. Okay. Alrighty. You know, in life, there's often times where the only thing you can really do is just, again, like I said at the end of the last segment, whenever I was doing this, I don't like the phrase "one must imagine Sisyphus happy" for, like I said, a number of reasons. All of them having to do with what the tale of Sisyphus is about. It kind of undermines the entire story if he's happy. But you definitely should at times in life whenever things are annoying or difficult or whatever. Just I think I mentioned it in one of the previous recordings actually, but like, just be grateful whenever times aren't annoying, that they're not annoying, that things aren't being particular in their difficulty. uh, and the thing is, this isn't an assertion. So I mean, like here, um, I don't think it is. I need it. Well, I mean, I could read right here. Is it? Sorta. Yeah, there is a therefore. So, trying to think of how I'm going to handle this and how that's going to be in line with the way that I handled it previously. Because that's 218. Because that's 1 and 2. Therefore, whatever. But it's handled as an assertion. Whereas over here, I handled it as like an addition. Yeah. I guess I'll just do that. I mean, I really could if I wanted to be that quick and dirty about it. And I could have done it like I did over here. But I'm starting to think I should have done what I did over here like this. And I think I'll put that note in there that that I should have just done it like this. Yeah, I should have done it like this. Because that's still 1 and 2, but that's got an assertion behind it. This doesn't have an assertion behind it, so I guess I'll just put it there as its own box. Right. I mean, if I could show you, and I mean, maybe I did show it down here, how it's literally written. Yeah, like you see how it's got, uh, well, that's 225. But do you see how that's got still assertion 1 and 2 assertion, uh, rather, still assertion sign 1 and 2 implies assertion sign. Over here, if you look at it, you can see that there's no like additional assertion sign, right? I mean, there's an implication behind it. I should have put that in there actually, darn it. I'll rewrite that because stupid. I'll rewrite that because I forgot that I left that out. But it's sum q or r over q, r or q over r, and then it's this. 2283. It's actually that. I should have I shouldn't have made that error, but that's actually what it says. So what you're looking at here is uh sort of the problem that I'm working with. Is like I'm trying to figure out how to demonstrate this whenever it's not itself an actual assertion, and that's kind of hard. So I'm kind of wondering if I need another kind of like Coptic script thing going on here. Okay, hold on. I think I'm going to. One sec. By the way, I forgot that I'm back. I forgot that my internet was out because Comcast is a great company. Um, that's like the fifth time this week, by the way, and it's been out for like. I guess I just assumed it would be back on because it's been out for like 2 hours. Anyway, what I needed to discover was that symbol. This symbol right here, I needed to discover. And it needs to go over here with its brethren, because it is a Ge'ez symbol that I will be using to mean essentially a collation outside of any current succession. And I will explain that as I get into it. But yes, this will be the Ge'ez equivalent of like, so you know how you have letters and you have numbers, right? This would be like the Ge'ez equivalent of the Ge'ez notation as I'm using it. I know this isn't how it works in the Ge'ez script. Don't, hound me on that. I'm saying that in the way that I'm using it, it's like if instead of A1, A1 and 2, A1, A2, A, you get the idea. Instead of being like A, A1, A2, B, B1, B2, C, C1, C2, etc., right? Instead of all of that, it'd be like if you went triangle, right? Like triangle, triangle one. That's what this is gonna be. As far as that stuff goes, it's just a collation without any care to the current hierarchy, if that makes sense. So with that figured out, basically, and I'm not sure I can make that much smaller and still have it be readable. Where is it? Copy. Um, and basically I need to copy the above. Uh, I'm thinking about it, and yeah, I think this is about the cleanest way I'm going to be able to do this. I'll have to add a note explaining that this is basically the clean version of what I did in 225, but yeah, this is about the cleanest way I can think of to do it. It kind of feels like a defeat. Like I want to keep things as tidy and as small as possible, but this is kind of the thing about working with a graphical system is that you're going to have some kind of conceits for, okay, I really can't not do it that way, kind of a thing. Because, I mean, this isn't that bad, but it looks bad, and it's kind of outside of how this is normally done. And I'll just basically say that in the notes. So let me get this out of the way. Let me get this all out of the way, because that's not necessary to have there. I believe you could still read that. It's painfully difficult to read, but I believe you could still read that. Yeah, I guess I could, like, shorten it a bit. Rip. Ripperoni. I definitely could scale it down a bit by doing that. There, that's much less room. Just trying to save on visual space. There's only so much visual space. You don't have infinite room. And these images are all going to be large enough. It's it's the same problem as Alfred North Whitehead and Bertrand Russell had making the big book to begin with. Is that you're only going to have so much space available between them, between the stuff you're making. And I'm going to have to add a very long note, or a relatively long note, to this, so it's not going to be any shorter by the time I'm done with boxing this, unfortunate as that is. I guess I should pull it over since... Oh, wow, okay, I thought I got all of it. I was so worried about scalping the top, I scalped the bottom. Rip. Okay, well, I'm just gonna cut and paste that, because there's no reason not to, save myself a little bit of hassle. What little I can. And this obviously is 230, page 109. Let me just do a quick test. Well, that ain't gonna do it. Let me just do a quick test. Okay, cool. It will print that entire space horizontally anyway. Note by me. A conjunction of expressions, I guess. Well, I at least, you know what? At least I have the freaking thing here for the Unicode right at hand. 1208. Excellent. Ugh, my ear. Ugh. Sorry I'm being so quiet, but as you could probably tell, I'm trying to, like, think. Ugh, goodness. Alright, so that'll handle the special note for this. Obviously, you can read it on screen. Let me go over this one more time. So P or Q or R implies P or R or Q. Okay, and then perm Q over P. Let me make sure it's readable. Perm Q over P, R over Q. Q or R implies R or Q. Excellent. And then perm Q over P, R over Q. And sum Q or R over P, R or Q over R. Therefore, this guy, which is just P or Q or R, P or R or Q. Excellent. Excellent, excellent. Now I just need to box these up. Put that back at the larger font size. Slap all of this together. Line them up. And then give myself a wedgie because I stupidly put this overlapping the main box. That was dim. It's not a big deal, but that was super dim. I should have done that. And then we could tinyfy this a little bit. It's not going to hurt anybody if we tinyfy it. Tinyfy more. More tinyfication. There we go. Okay, so this one is 226, the other one is 227, right? So 226 is not P, or P implies Q implies Q. Not P or. P implies Q implies Q. Okay, so that's 226. Page 109. Star 227. Page 109. That's 3 more. Blown right through. And another hurdle blown through. The next hurdle that comes up is the note for 231, which is stupidly long. And I'm going to have to type out a notepad. So the thing is that I said at one point, like, oh, this seems like they're just repeating themselves. And they kind of are. It's a bit grim, though. Ah, my freaking ear. Ugh. It's a bit grim, though, because they're basically asking you to, So, how about instead of talking about it, because I'm going to have to type it out anyway, let's talk about it and go through it, yeah? Uh, let's go through this, right? So, this proposition and 232 together constitute the associative law for logical addition of propositions, and the proof the following, the following abbreviation, not constantly used hereafter, will be employed. We'll get to that asterisk in a second. When we have a series of propositions of the form A implies B, B implies C, and C implies D, if you're paying attention with the syllogism part, all asserted, and A implies D is the proposition to be proved. The proof in full is as follows. This is hideous, but I'll type it out. Sil. Assertion A. There's no spaces there. Implies B. Implies B. Implies C. Implies A. Implies C. One. And then A implies B. 1 and 2 and star 111 B implies C implies A implies C. Almost forgot the 3 implies, or rather, hold on. There's no implies there, it's just B implies C. Let me adjust my headset. Because guess what's coming up next? Yes, if you guessed, the next line is 3 and 4, and you guessed it, 111. Gives you A implies C, you're on the ball. And guess what follows next? You're not going to believe this. Still, right? My computer having a conniption fit. I understand. I don't like it either, buddy. A implies C. Implies. Guess what? C implies D. Implies. That's the wrong thing. I didn't want that thing from Berserk. Yeah, A implies D. D, not C. And that's 6. And guess what's next? You guessed it probably. C, yes, implies D. And then, you guessed it, 7 and 8 and 111 as always. Give you A implies D for 8. And now you'll understand what they mean whenever they say that where A implies D is, oh right, no. I skipped a line where they say it is tedious to write out this process in full. Yes, it certainly is. Okay, I'll leave that commentary for later, but we therefore write simply A, wrong one, implies B, etc. I'm not sure if there's supposed to be a space there. I feel like there is. Etc. implies single space. Implies C, etc. implies D. And then that's therefore. Right, that's the... my ear, man. Holy crap. Where A implies D is the proposition to be proved. We indicate on the left by references and square brackets the propositions in virtue of which the successive implications hold. We put 1 dot, not 2, after B to show stupid page turning. What nonsense. How dare my book try to turn its own page. That it is B, not A, implies B, that implies C. But we put 2 dots after D to show that now the whole proposition A implies D is concerned. If A implies D, not the curse mark from Berserk, not if A curses D with a ritual from a manga, is concerned. Oh wait, no. I just reread that same part. If A implies D is not the proposition to be proved, but it is to be used subsequently in the proof, we put A implies B, etc. implies C, etc. Implies an itchy ear. Yes, it implies your ear is itchy. D, and then that's it. Oh, right. 1. And then 1 means A implies D. The proof of 231 is as follows. Egad. Okay. P. Really? Really, computer? You really gonna throw a fit now? We've been through so much. P or Q or R implies P or R or Q associative with R over Q, Q over R. Implies R or P or Q perm R over P, P or Q over Q. Wrong one. 2283, 2283, 2283. P or Q or R. I did put P or the P or key. Yes, P or key. P or Q over Q, right? Okay. R over P, P or Q over Q. Okay, cool. P or Q or R. Right, and then there's the wrong one, right one. Prop. $2.31. Okay, so here's what we're dealing with in 231. Just for understanding, right? So if you can kind of get the gist of what's going on here, what they're saying is that it is B that implies C on that, not A implies B. And that it is they are getting what they are using from a referenced thingy. Does that make sense? So like if you, I don't know how I managed that, but if for associative, right? I actually looked ahead for once and like studied is the wrong word. I don't want to ever attach scholastic achievement to what I'm doing here. But like I looked ahead and compared it. So associative, so let's look at what associative is, right? It might actually be on here somewhere, right? No, I have perm though. Okay, so for instance, look at what perm is. Star 1.4 is also perm. They are the same thing. So it's P or Q implies Q or P, right? So over here, they're saying perm replace R for P and replace not yeah, okay, I was right. Replace R for P and P or Q for Q, right? Now if you look, the second half here, right? So you go implies yada yada, implies Q or P. Now if you look, it's P or Q, right? So you replace the P with P or Q. Uh, yeah. So they're using the first half of that. Like oddly, I would have figured that they used the second half, but no, they're using the first half unless I've screwed up, which is totally possible. Because permutation is P or Q implies Q or P, right? So they're using the antecedent there. They're only using half of it. Because P or Q, uh, no. I was wrong. I was wrong. I was reading it wrong. Actually, alarming. I know. Um, but yeah, okay. They're using the second half of it like I figured. That's where the actual screw up was. My apologies, folks. But see, it's good whenever I have those moments to be like, oh yeah, okay, I was just screwing it up. So yeah, they are using the antecedent there, like I originally figured. That's why I was kind of shocked, is because it would have been really weird for them to be not the antecedent, the consequent. It would have been really weird for them to be using the first part of the thingy, which is called the antecedent, as far as I can tell. They used the second half, which is, as far as I could tell, what you call the consequent. So like in star 1-6, the consequent would be P or Q implies P or R, and the antecedent would be Q implies R, as far as I'm able to tell. I couch everything with it as far as I know, because again, I'm not like Mr. Expert. I don't have a fancy hat with a tassel on it, and a scroll in my hand and an apple in the other. I'm just some guy. Uh, but The point is that it's still that this is what's doing the implication there. Now, what I don't understand about this is like, okay, what I'm trying to understand myself in reading this note is that they're going, okay, A implies B, B implies C, implies A implies C, right? And they're like trying to do A implies B, B implies C, C implies D. Which I guess is what they're doing here. I mean, if I'm just gonna because remember, I'm reading this book like I'm doing it as I'm reading it, so I'm still trying to learn with you if you're watching this, or if you, in the future, read through or whatever you want to call looking at all these graphs. Like I'm doing this as I learn. So if you are going through it, you are going through it essentially no matter when you go through it as I went through it, right? That's another reason why I'm doing it on my first go through, is that I figured that that's probably the way to make something that other people will understand, is if I'm doing it my first time around as I come to understand it. Does that make sense? So if I'm looking at it and what I'm understanding here is that they're doing B implies C, then yeah, okay. Then I guess I'm just going to have to do it that way. I can kind of figure out how to do that. I can kind of figure out how to do that. But what I need right now, what I need, is to figure out how to make more room if I'm going to do that, and how to get my scroll wheel to stop being stupid. There we go. Put that up there. I think I can just do away with this. And by think I can do away with that, I mean I'm more or less certain that I can do away with that. So this was 225. Uh, I feel I can do away with all of 225 too for now. Just keep what I've got right now. Mainly because I've already got a version of this saved with that going on, like with that as part of it. Okay, so I need to get this one done now while I'm looking at that, while I just went over that. Oh, okay. There's a slight difference. Um, well, now I want this back. Okay, so that was 225. All right. So this is P or Q or R implies P or R or Q. Okay, so I'm gonna need to scalp this, sorta. Or I already have a thingy of that, right? I did do that, right? I, I put it down here, yes. Yes, excellent. Now what I'm going to need is this, and you're not gonna believe it, folks, but I kind of need to take this, take this, and flip it. And then flip this. And then I can put this back here, and then everything will be fine. Sort of. Yeah, that'll work. Okay. Because what this is, let me go ahead and type it out here. 231 as written. P, well, Okay, man. P I un I un something. I unlearned how to do that. I unlearned how to speak English there for a brief minute too. It was scary. I was briefly without any language, since I don't speak any other languages. P or Q or R implies Q, Q or key or R. Yes. P or Q or R implies P or Q or R. All right. Golden. Got it. Solid. Just to give you an idea what I'm working with, and also so that I just have it on screen so I cannot possibly screw it up. Yes, P. That's what I wanted. No, no, that is not what I wanted. I wanted this. P or Q or R. I'm trying my darndest not to let my southern accent make it sound like I'm saying P or Q or R. Q R R. I'm not saying PRR like a pirate. Yar. P or Q. Yar. P or Q or yar, matey. Yes. Okay. Okay, so that's that. Simple. That's the simple part. Now, what we need to do next is we're going to get a little goofy. We are going to get a little goofy. Yes, we are going to get just a tad bit goofy. You're going to understand what I mean in a moment, because this is going to become a head trip. Okay, where is it? Uh, yeah. It's all the same assertion. So what's going to happen here is like I don't know how it's the because again, what they're doing here, if you look at what's in Notepad, right, then I should go ahead and get this out. I'll see if all of this will print in size 10. I somehow doubt it will, but wow, it did. That's incredible. Okay, so you get what's going on here is that A implies B, B implies C, C implies D, right? So there's a couple options on how to represent that, but here's the real like here's the real nutty thing I'm going to have to deal with here. Whenever you see what I'm going to do here, I think it's going to either be impressive or look incredibly stupid, and I'm not sure which, but I hope it's the first one. Yeah. Oh wow. Okay. I'm just trying to work out in my head how to do this. So it's okay. Well, first of all, I get how I'm going to have to do this part, so I can rest assured in that. I can kind of stop and go, okay. I can sort of stop and go, yeah, yeah, I understand how this is going to work at least. So let me go down here and get this. Because this is where it's going to get stupid. Like, this is where it's going to get actually out of control. Like, what the heck are you doing? What have you done? What is this? What is this? What am I looking at? Like, what am I actually looking at? This is going to get. Because I didn't even realize, like, I saw this coming, but I didn't realize what the implication here was. No pun intended. Um, yeah. Also, I need to change my note in the book. Uh, because that's the consequent of each. It's not the antecedent. I wrote antecedent. It's the consequent. And yes, I'm writing in the book. Uh, you know, I would say sue me, but I can't handle that heat. Don't actually sue me. I don't care how frivolous the lawsuit is. Don't do that. That's not nice. Not even as a joke. Uh, yeah, this is just gonna be a bit grim. Uh, yeah. Okay, so what I think I need is, well, I'm going to need one thing for sure. Um, yeah, that'll kind of work. Yeah, that'll kind of work. I'll just take this, because folks, I don't want to have to do an entirely new. You know my hatred for having to do entirely new stuff by now. I hope I don't want to have to do entirely new stuff. So let's take this out. Yeah. let's take this. Actually, I should probably take just my ear. Ah, surprise attack. I should probably take this. And for starters, just scalp that for a minute. Flip this. Flip this! There we go. Since I'm going to need another one over here, and I'm going to need my scroll wheel to stop messing up. Let me just move that over there for now. So that I can move it like back where it was, basically have it look all nice and pretty. There we go. Flip it. Flip it good. Leave that there for now. And then I'm going to need to add the conjunctive. 2287. Oh, well, I thought I had the thing going. 24. 2287. 2227. Yes, that's it. That is correct. That is what I wanted. The logical conjunctive, rather than a disjunctive. Alright, well, first of all, I need to figure this out. So, up here is P, Q, or R implies, that's an imply, not a or, not a disjunction. I need to stop because that'll mess up the thingy. So 2283. The edges of the text box, whenever you actually like finish putting something into the text field, if they're over something, that'll mess it up for whatever stupid reason. Anyway, so over here I need uh, PQR, PRQ. Right? It's P or Q or R, P or RQ. Go ahead and get this figured out. I might make all of this just one long video because that would amuse me, if no other reason. It'd be interesting to see how many people are actually willing to watch one like 8-hour video. I might not do that though. I don't know. I probably won't. I mean, maybe some people would prefer that. I have no idea. I don't know who would want to listen to me nonstop for 8 hours, yammer on while I do this. But bless you, whoever would. Thank you. I'd be very, what's the word? Uh, uh, I don't know what the word that I was looking for is, but I found a different one and it's just as accurate. Uh, I would be very, mirthful. Like I would laugh at that. I'd find that very funny. And not in a mean way. Like, wow, that is kind of funny. Anyway, what we're going to do here is we're going to say that this and if you see where I'm going with this, you're absolutely right. I am doing exactly what it looks like. Uh, associative with um, R over Q and Q over R. Just make that nice and squat. Shrink it down, compact it. Okay, well that is definitely not that layer. It is definitely... Yeah, we're gonna need all of these. Let me just go ahead and line them up for one thing. Why do I not have them lined up properly? That is not good. I should line them up at least so that I can get all of them at once if I need them, like in one good cluster. There we go. I'm going to need these. Move them over here. Uh, yeah, and this isn't going to have a, it's not a separate assertion. So we're not doing that. How about that? This is only going to get goofier, I'm telling you now. This is only going to continue to increase in goofiness as we continue. Copy, paste. Now, why am I doing this, you might ask? Because I absolutely am thinking about making that like a template. I'm not really sure if I can do that. This is just going to be a pain in the rear thing. I'm going to have to do custom every single time I want to deal with this situation, I guess. But such is life. I can't really find myself caring too hard. It's not that big of a deal. What is a big deal is making sure that this is lined up uh, accurately. Okay. Oh, and yeah, duh. I'm gonna have to, like, get rid of that, yeah? I think you see where this is going. Uh, no, implies. Flip, copy, paste, flip. And now we're going to copy this, paste it here, because I got that wrong. We don't need these. What we actually need are these, if you'd believe it. There we go. I'm gonna need more numbers than I thought. Is that really... no, I guess what I'm going to need for that is, you know, this symbol is coming in clutch faster than I thought it would. Wow. I didn't think that would come in handy that quickly, but wow, it certainly did. Uh, yeah, because that's not really number 3, is it? This is number 3. Wow, alright. Yeah, that's not number 3. That's not even a number. That's not really, it's not a, it's a direct part, but it's not a completely direct part. Ow, my ear. Whenever I react like that, it's because it feels like something's trying to crawl into my ear. Like, That's why that's so distressing. I try to avoid saying that outright, but like that's why I react that way. Like if you were ever wondering like why is it so bad? It's that's why. So that's 3 and then 4, right? Yep. Okay. I'm getting to the point where I can read the numbers at least. Like I read that as, whatever 3. I'm not sure how to pronounce the name of that thing, but anyway. All right. So that's yeah, PRQ, right? And that's not implies, it's or. So it's P or R or Q. I screwed this one up. It's P or Q. Oh, no. I'm reading the wrong one. Holy crap, I gotta stop doing that. But that is true for the next one that it's inverted, so I need to remember that. I told you I have problems with rows and keeping track of rows, right? So that's R or P or Q. Okay. R or P or Q. Copy, paste, paste. Excellent. Okay, and then I need to take this box. Maybe not that. Maybe not that box. Maybe I just need to come up here and get this box. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, and then paste that. Pull a Gorbachev and tear down that wall. Do the thing here again. Look, if that joke's offensive, just know that I'm going off of the quote. I'm not going off of actual historicity, nor am I implying like a historical argument, so don't come at me. I don't know what Gorbachev did or did not do. Other than show up in a pizza commercial, which I still think is kind of, like, I'm just going to say it, that's kind of based. Uh, no, I'm stupid. I didn't need to do that. It was right the first time. Yeah. Yeah. So it just is that way on the, okay. That's P, Q, R. That's P or Q or R. P, Q, R. Excellent. I've gotten so into this, I've almost forgotten about all the crud I have to deal with. At this point, I even want to keep going, but you know how that is. I have stuff I have to take care of. Tragic, I know. Look how, like, yeah, I've got to do some space management over here. Move this. Delete that. Well, no, not delete that. I'm gonna need that in a minute. Just shove this over here. Okay, and I'll basically just take this. You know what? I'll take the whole thing, and I will very intelligently. I will instead of stupidly, I will intelligently space this out. Check this out. I don't actually have to. Oh, come on. I don't have to actually worry about making the whole thing from scratch again. I can now just rip this, and you'll understand why in a minute if you've forgotten already why this is going to be a little bit trickier to fit in there, but I've got it. I've got it. I've got it. So we're going to have to put this instead of the other one. Let's see if we can just match that right up. Yeah, that's perfect. Excellent. So here we've got to put, much to my dismay and discomfort, perm R over P. Yes, yes. And then P or Q over Q. Now, that's going to be a bit tougher to fit in there, but we can do it. I have faith. I got a lot of faith. We can do it. Excellent. Now, scrunch, tinify that. Perfect. I love barely readable text. It's my favorite font. Barely readable. Uh, yeah. You know, there's some people who are really into fonts, and I don't understand it. But I'm glad that some people exist who are like that into it. You know, like it's one of those things where I'm very glad that somebody exists who's that into it. Come on, man. Okay. Just the one pixel, huh? Alright. Whatever. I ain't complaining. Okay, so uh you know, if I wanted to be cheeky, I would put like a little anchor at the top with just a number, but I feel A, that would confuse, and B, it's more intuitive to read it as top to bottom, like this is going from 2 plus this into that, 3 plus that into 4, right? And just boxing the whole thing in kind of makes it clear what the domain is. Like, I feel I don't need to make it all that more complicated, right? Just like I can do this, and I could have done this all along instead of being a dimwit about it. So if I line this up, obviously at the top, it should line up at the bottom. It should. If it doesn't, we're going to have a problem. Alright. Perfection. Excellent. So I'm obviously going to have to include a I'm gonna have to include a note about that, like an actual note about that, which I'm not looking forward to. But, you know, because this is a long enough image as it is, and what this is essentially going to do is make it even longer. Oh, come on. which is unfortunate. I'm not really happy about that, but you know, hopefully, the amount of like text, the amount of notation text and notes and stuff will drop off as I get done. So I'm just gonna write star 231 page 110. Okay. Yes, I knew I was missing something over here. How about I just move that? Something in my noggin told me that I was missing something in here, and it was obvious, and sure enough. Okay. Go ahead and move this all closer up here. And then, of course, copy paste this. Again, for the same reason as always, I don't want to have to do any more copy pasting than I absolutely have to. And since that didn't really look good, oh, ew, yeah, right, duh. I'm stupid. Sorry. That is not how that should go. But that's okay. It's not really that big of a deal. I just need to move this up a tiny smidgen. There we go. And then I can encapsulate this. Glad I caught that. I'm very glad I caught that. I mean, it's not like it's a big deal that I caught it. I pretty much was almost guaranteed to catch it. But it's good that I did. Because, like, yes, it's important to maintain consistent, proper notation. It is incredibly important to do that. Not doing so is bad form. I'd be remiss if I didn't. Like, make an effort to do that. I'll just put it right here because I'd rather it be tall than wide, because it's going to be anyway. I guess I could put it, I guess I could squash it. I guess I could squash it. Because it looks like the text is going to be off to the side anyway, so. Yeah, you see this? Yeah. Okay. Okay, and go ahead and put that right there. And I think that will be actually it for this episode. Uh, that took a lot more time than I thought it would. But, hey, I'm grateful I did it. I'm grateful for going through it. I'm grateful that the answer to that kind of presented itself, even if it comes off a little goofy. And moreover, I'm glad that my mood has improved, at least a good bit. So, see you for now. If I do others in the meantime, um, well, like I said, I'm not going to record every single one of them, but if I do others in the meantime and they have some kind of large, let's say, like point, like if a large notation thing happens, that you know what I mean by it, like a large translation slash notation. Oh, I don't know where that hiccup came from, but a large like translation or notation decision gets made. It'll be in note text, obviously, like under the graph it happens on. Like you can recognize graphs that have that by large amounts of notation text. I will try my best to not add notation text unless it's something that I think really, really requires it. Like you're not just going to see notation text on an image where it's like, "Ha ha, today was a great day," right? Like it's going to be, it's not going to be a blog post. It's going to be pertaining to that image and pertaining to something important. By and large, Anyway, thank you for watching. I'm going to go deal with the crap that I have to deal with.